right, looks like we're live. Good morning, everybody. So I wanted to take a minute and just chat with you guys. We're reaching the end of our year. Oh, okay, starting that over. So we're reaching the end of the year, December 27th. Sun's not up yet, but it looks like it's about to crack open. That's not an expression. I'm working on building a personal practice for getting back into the routine of starting my day early, getting up early and writing, getting up early, creating content. And one of these things is I wanted to start getting on a live stream and sharing this publicly with everybody, actually. I want to make sure this goes out here. Really quickly throw this into the Facebook group. Okay, so I am planning on starting to do this again more regularly, starting with this morning. I'm going to try to do something along the lines of every Tuesday morning. I'm going to start by keeping it a little bit more fluid because I want to build this as a practice for myself, sharing a little bit of what I'm working on for the week, what I am focusing on, both for Alan Kent, but also for Photo Club, give you a sense of where we're working toward, or what we're working towards. And one of these big things is we've got a lot of behind the scenes work that we've been doing for a while now with Photo Club. And I wanted to make sure that you are all aware kind of what our content calendar looks like. 2023 is shaping up to be a pretty big year. Not just because it feels a little bit like we're coming back to the real world after a long COVID lockdown, slow start to kind of re-entering the world. Seems like weddings and events are back on schedule. And so I think we can unabashedly restart face-to-face in-person events. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. The big one for y'all is that we are building a process to make sure that our content kind of doesn't cease to flow just because my season gets busy. My world is very like feast and famine in terms of the content the sessions that I'm shooting. I shoot very aggressively in the summer, and right now, not as much. So we're building systems so that just because myself and some of our educators get busy doesn't mean that you have to stop seeing new content coming up on through the stream. So we want to just make sure that regardless of what our system, what our week, our month, our year looks like, that there's new content out for you guys so you can continue growing, you can continue working on your business in ways that is interesting. So that means we're also working on a lot of stuff right now that you will see in like August and September, and when we're just like completely like head down shooting and editing, that there's still stuff out there for you. I also am working on completely rebuilding our Photo Club website because it had gone through an attack. Apparently, website was completely destroyed. I had to work completely from the ground up. So that's about to be launched. I'm hoping to have that out. It's Tuesday. I've been saying for a couple of days, it's like 1 or 2 days out from being done. It has to be done by the end of this week. I really want to be able to say to you by the first of the year that, hey, we've got a completely new refreshed website with new content, new everything. So pay attention on the Facebook community and on Instagram because I'll be posting stuff there for everybody. So what am I working on this week? I fixed the website. It's almost done. We are working on a really nice new content calendar for 2023. So the plan is to schedule our plan is to schedule our photo walks much further in advance. So we have the entire year laid out, so you know that you can put things in the calendar ahead of time, plan on things. If you have a more traditional job, you can work around this a little bit. That way, if you know 3 or 4 months in advance that you want to set some time aside to come hang out and shoot with us in a far-flung area, that you have the time to do that. We're also working on making sure that the Facebook group is more active. So we're putting some prompts and some kind of big questions in there. So pay attention there. And then I'd say one of the most exciting things is that we're not only working on our first ever real workshop, we're actually working on 2. So starting this spring, we're going to be launching our photo club workshop series. We're doing our very first one. We're thinking I think it's late March is when we're hoping to have everything out and ready for you. And then having another one ready to go in the fall. So we're doing a lot of behind the scenes work on that right now, but pay attention, especially there should be a link on the website once it launches to be some of the first to know when the workshop goes live. We're going to be giving sending out early emails to people on our email list to make sure that if you're really, really interested in signing up for it, that you're the first people. Yeah, that's kind of my behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, it's Christmas was just a couple days. I should have said Merry Christmas if that's a thing you do. But with the holidays and family and stuff, there's still, I've got a family event tonight with my family from out of town. But outside of that, I wanted to take a second and go over some of the no stupid questions chats that we were having in the Facebook community to give a little bit of insight into how I think and kind of answer some of those questions for the community. So first of all, it seemed like a lot of people were having, there's a lot of discussions going on about archiving and backing up and kind of reviewing content from previous seasons. And I mean, that makes sense with the time of year, year is winding down, about to launch into 2023, which is pretty crazy to say. And with that, of course, our minds turn towards the idea of preserving what we did, making sure that what we have done for the whole year is safe and secured and protected, not just for our clients, but also for ourselves. I mean, that's the record of having a good season. That's the record of the growth that we did throughout the year. So one of the first questions was, should we be recording and storing just our JPEGs or also RAW files? And I can take this to have 2 meanings. And I've definitely been thinking about this a lot myself recently. But one meaning I would hear as our exported finished product. Is that all we need to keep for storage? Or do we need to store just also the raw files that come out of the computer? And for that, I would argue you need both. Excuse me. Our work isn't static. And sometimes one of our very favorite shoots happens right before we have an aha moment and we completely change our editing style. And it is such a shame to have a beautiful set that we don't love the editing on. So the very least, I would save every single raw file for your selected photos. You go out and you do a beautiful session and you shoot 1,000 photos and you deliver 50 of them, at least those 50 raw files. Please, please, please save. I'm not saying you can't save all of them. I unfortunately do. I've got a massive file server right behind the camera there. But only keeping the exported, baked in JPEGs is a recipe for disappointment. Now, the other question that could be had from there is, my cameras all shoot in with dual cards, 2 cards. And I shoot with a raw file into my primary card and a backup JPEG into my secondary card. And for me, I've been toying with the idea of saving only my JPEG file. So I have all of my raw files saved on these. These are our working like SSD drives that we connect to our computers for editing. They get stored here and on the backups server over there. So these are all raw files. And then every single card that I shoot also has an SD card. So these are all JPEG files. So these are not RAWs, but they are unedited JPEGs. So the question is, do I save these or do I save these? I don't have an answer yet. I will tell you what I'm thinking about right now is the fact that if I were to edit these and then lose them and then go back and need to re-edit on these or re-export, it would be a nightmare to trick Lightroom into accepting these as the original files and then also having to re-edit because this doesn't have the same exposure or kind of like latitude that the raw files have. So for me, I'm not really certain what I would do with just these as backups. So I haven't really solved that for myself yet. But I think more importantly, just having those deep backups, having those systems is really, really important. Second question in terms of backups was backing up your catalogs, your externals, and your computers. So putting aside JPEGs and RAWs, like just take it for granted that those are already backed up. I think the next question is, let me make sure. I think the next question is, what else are you backing up, right? So having the entire chain from shoot to delivery backed up is super, super critical. And these three parts, I think, are important, right? It's interesting discussion. So your catalog files, this is completely dependent on whether you're doing a singular catalog with all of your millions of photos in it, or if you're doing individual catalogs per session, or if you're doing like an annual catalog or something like that. So we do individual catalogs, one catalog per session. This allows us to send this out to my editor to work on them for culling. But this also means that every time I back out of a catalog, upload it to Google Drive to send to Brianna to edit, that means that we are organically creating backups of our catalogs. So I don't ever have to worry about that. If you're doing an annual one, I highly recommend that about now, seeing as there's only a couple days left in the year, you call it for the year, say 2022 is done, close your catalog, zip it into a compressed file. So that would mean backing up the catalog file, any smart previews or previews that you want to keep, and then there's that new LR data file. So that will be like your catalog name .lrdata, and you have to have at least the catalog and that LR data file for you to retain all of things like masking and brushstrokes and stuff like that. Compress them. On a Mac, you would select all of them, right click, and then compress, and rename that something really easy to remember. 2022 full catalog or whatever you want to call that. Put that somewhere safe. I highly recommend somewhere in the cloud, Google Drive, Dropbox, and something like that. You know, having a file server in your home that's secure is another good thing, and you could also keep them on an external and keep that safe. I recommend multiple places. Don't just keep anything in one place. Externals, that's another really good discussion. Like I'm tempted. This is the first year we've done as many of these and as intentionally as we've done these. And I'm really tempted to wipe these and just keep our deep storage backup and then keep these as a rotating set. In the grand scheme of things, these are expensive. They're not absurdly expensive. You can get them as a terabyte. You can get these for about 120. I think I've gotten them as cheap as like 99 on sale. Went through 6 of them for the year. $600 to generate an entire year's revenue is not insane, but I don't know if I want to keep 6 of these around for every single year that we're shooting. So that's between you and your backup gods. If you want to dump these all into a file server or put these all online and then wipe these for the year, that's great. Or the idea of backing these up could be cataloging them, putting them in a safe place, and putting them away. And then finally, computers. Do you back up your computer at the end of the year? I do not. Partially because ideally nothing on your computer should be sacred. Everything should already be somewhere else. My file management for where my content that I'm generating, whether that's photography or stuff for Photo Club, graphics, writing, all that is always in the cloud. So we use Google Drive for everything. That way we can share it between our team members. And so for me, when I make something, it is like when I export from Lightroom, I export it into a Google Drive folder. That means as it's exporting, it's already backing up and organizing itself. I don't want to have to think about that. I always joke that I could take this laptop, throw it in a wood chipper, walk into Best Buy, and get to work within 2 hours, because I don't want any single item on here. If there's an accident, a mistake, a computer failure, I don't want anything on here to slow my business down, to slow my work down. So I would argue, don't back up your computer, because you should be slowly backing it up every single day as you're working organically. Yeah, if you've got any more questions about backup, I know we're going to be doing some sort of online or some sort of class down the road to do like a holistic view of how you should be backing up your whole system. It's something that I know I have to work on because I've got a very elaborate backup system, and I'd like to share it with everybody. And finally, last question was about ADHD focusing on the wrong things. And this one is hard. This is one of the things that's been a big struggle for me over the years, partially because I had undiagnosed ADHD for most of my life, and coming to terms with the fact that I needed help with it was a challenge for me. So I'm not a doctor, but if you think you actually do have some variation of ADHD, I highly recommend you talk to somebody about it and see if there are processes that can help you. One of the things that helped me was an Adderall prescription. Again, I'm not advocating for anybody for that, but I know that it did help me. And then the other part of it is just morning routine. Part of it for me is this. I've also got a massive whiteboard back here, and I don't want to be that person that says, you can always find time, because I don't know your life. If you've got kids, if you've got responsibilities, if you've got 2 jobs, 3 jobs, maybe you literally don't have time to sit down and plan. But I know I've been working on carving out moments here and there so that I can sit and think and strategize what I want out of my life and what I want my business and my team to be working on. And so having a way to see the big picture, for me, it's whiteboards, it's physical, it's knowing exactly what step 1, 2, and 3 look like. And for me, having that holistic view has really helped kind of hone in and focus on what was important to me. So if you're having that problem of bouncing between projects over and over and like getting 1%, 10%, 3% done on 40 tasks, I think it sounds reductive, but a little bit of self-reflection, meditation, and quiet time, a cup of coffee, a pair of headphones, whatever works for you, and dialing that in, I think that's all really, really important. Okay, so I've only got I kind of want to wrap it up here in a second, but I've got one more thing. We've had a bunch of requests recently for essentially volunteering. Like, how can I help? I want to do more. I want to contribute in some way. We have a lot of big plans. I don't want to share everything yet because I've got a lot of moving parts, but do know that we need help. We would love help. If anybody is out there and they've got skills that they're looking to contribute, please reach out to me directly. You can find me, Michael Stewart Patrick Kent on Facebook if you're there, or just you can DM the Photo Club Instagram at Our Photo Club. Some specifics that we are always in need of is like help with social media content. So, or social media management. So if you're somebody that just loves spending time on Facebook or just loves spending time on Instagram and you want to, contribute to with that, reach out. Anybody that has video editing skills or audio or music engineering skills, and if you want to work with us directly, like, we would endlessly appreciate that. Or if you're just that camera dork in your family and your friend group and you want to be more engaged in what we're doing and you just like love the things that we're putting out, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here. We're doing a lot of behind the scenes work right now, but we love the people that make up this community. So if you want to chip in, let me know. All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to try to work on doing at least once a week, or at least once a week. So send me a message if you have any questions. I'm going to drop this in the Facebook community. I already did. And if you're looking through this and you have any questions about the content that we're putting out, don't hesitate. Goodbye.